No DQ Galaxy. We are live with predictions for the final wrestling pay-per-view event of 2024. The year is almost over. It is Worlds End from AEW All Elite Wrestling. This event is coming to us from Orlando, Florida. We got the No DQ panel tonight. Looking forward for tonight's predictions. Let's start with somebody who's quickly becoming a veteran on the No DQ panel videos. We got Gino with us tonight. Gino, how are you doing? I hope you had a fun holiday break here, but now it's time to get back into business. We got World's End coming up to close out the year. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for this pay-per-view event?
Yeah, thank you. As always, honored to be here. You'll notice the background's different. I'm finishing a move, so this will be somewhat similar to what you guys will be seeing moving forward. As far as my excitement level for this, the pay-per-view on its own in the middle of the year, 5 out of 10. But since it is the final pay-per-view of the year, I'm looking forward to it a little bit more than I might usually be. So I'm going to go ahead and say 6.5 out of 10 excitement level. So I'm looking forward to talking about these predictions with you guys.
All right, fair enough. 6 out of 10. It feels like AEW is a little bit in a cool period right now. It's not the hot commodity that it was several years ago, but they've always consistently delivered on pay-per-views. And for me, I always put that into consideration. Uthman, glad to have you back. You've been a long-time viewer of the channel, and you've been on a couple videos here and there. Always a pleasure to have you on. How are you feeling about this show?
Oh, good evening, everybody. Good to see you all again. Just like Gino, the same. I'm at a 6.57. Like last time, I was at Full Gear at the last pay-per-view, and kind of like what you said, when it comes to pay-per-views, AEW, it's either good or really good, and then there's that great. So, unfortunately, the ride along on that train to the pay-per-views are sometimes hit or misses. The needle a little on the misses, but they've come through for pay-per-view. So I'm at a 6.57, jumping around there. Looking forward to it. And yeah, it's the last one of the year. And then we could just got to hope that, like we've been talking along, as you guys have been doing it in the reviews and you, Aaron, in the No Q&A, hopefully come 2025 with the new TV deal in, somehow there's a fire lit in AEW to turn their things around. Hopefully attendance numbers go higher. And again, the pay-per-views do great, so I'm looking forward to this one on the weekend. And so hopefully, and excited, just like Gino, to talk with the rest of you guys about the card for this weekend.
I'm going to agree with you guys. Somewhere between a 6 and a 7 for me. Should be a great card. I feel like I'm looking forward to the Continental Classic finals more than the actual main event of the show, the world title match, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Let's see what the This Guy Experience has to say. Welcome back. Always a pleasure to have you on. How are you feeling about this pay-per-view?
Well, as I said before we got on camera earlier, I'm not really a huge AEW fan, so I'm like maybe 5.5 out of 10. Not really that thrilled. It's okay.
Are you going to be buying the pay-per-view?
No. I mean, it's not even a no. It's like ever since WWE spoiled us these last 10. God, I can't believe it's been already 10 years. With the WWE Network. I mean, honestly, I've never bought a pay-per-view in my entire life. I would have liked to back in the mid 2000s, whatever, but I was still like a teenager at that point in time. And then by the time I had an actual job, WWE Network was like on its way. I mean, I would just watch reviews and I actually watch SmackDown and Raw, but now AEW have their $50 minimum, or do they have anything higher than that for their pay-per-views? I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, once that HBO, I don't like the way they changed the name, but formerly HBO Max deal comes up with the purchase it and it gets a discount. Maybe sometime next year I'll pick like a couple to watch.
All right, fair enough. So keep in mind, everybody, that with this predictions panel, we have people in different areas of interest with AEW. We have people like myself. I cover every single pay-per-view, and then we have somebody who might watch more casually and somebody who doesn't have really any interest in the pay-per-views, but has been following along and knows what the card is and wants to give opinions on it. So this is a sample of different opinions on this, and we'll see how things go here with the predictions. That's what's fun about the predictions. We always have different opinions, different viewpoints on it, and let's go. We got 8 matches to talk about. Of course, they'll likely add a bunch more. There'll be like 10 or 11. It'll go 4 hours. I sound like a broken record. It's always
hopefully not. Just to let you know, my friends that I went with to Full Gear didn't even know that Ricochet's match was added at Full Gear. I told them when we got to the arena, I'm like, oh, Ricochet's here. They're like, they are? I'm like, yeah, they announced it. What was it, like an hour after we did the predictions? I think last month they added the Ricochet match in there. So, yeah, so hopefully from your lips, Aaron, to the wrestling gods above, keep it at 8. Keep it right there at 8 matches.
If they just kept with what they have right now, I think it would be a great show. I don't think they need any more matches on top of what they already have. And it still may go 4 hours with what they got, but it's a solid card. I'm not a big fan of the world title match, but overall, I do think it's a pretty solid card. Let's get to the matches. Like Matthew said in the chat room, they may end up adding 5 or 6 more on the final Rampage. We only got Rampage left. So yeah, Friday, they might add 5, 6 matches. Hopefully not though. But anyways, let's get to it. We'll start. Let me pull up the matches here. I got the graphics somewhere around here. Here we go. All right. First match. We have the AEW International Championship, Konosuke Takeshita versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I've been a big fan of Hobbs, and he's one of those guys that I think could break the glass ceiling and be a major star. But I feel like every time AEW starts to push him, remember when he beat Chris Jericho and then he went nowhere? Like, I feel he's always starting to be pushed. Then they dial it back with him. Then they brought him back recently as a babyface, and he's got this pay-per-view match. I'd like to see him win, but I don't think he's going to win. Takeshita seems to be one of their guys, and Takeshita's great too. Should be a really good match. I don't think there's going to be a title change, though. I think Takeshita retains. This guy experience, I'll go over to you now. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, spoiler alerts, most of my predictions when it comes to titles, no title change at all. Well, maybe one. I only have one on my mind, and this is not one of those matches. It's similar like they as Powerhouse Hobbs. I think I've seen like a clip of his match before. He's okay. Takeshita, I've only heard him in name when you talk about him in the AEW reviews. He's one of those guys. He seems like, as Randy Orton said back in the day, dive. I'm not sure exactly if he does a lot of those dives or not, but unfortunately, like you said, he's probably one of the Elite's buddies. So, he's going to keep that title. How long has he had that title, actually? Like a couple months, few months?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. I'm not actually sure how long he's been champion. But I don't think he's been champion long enough to really justify a title change. Yeah, so and pretty much I'm going to go with the odds on this one. If the title has only been because was one of the women's matches, I'm like, she's definitely not losing it because she just got it like a month or two ago. So, but I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, unfortunately, Hobbs not going to go that far. And again, I'm still another phrase from you, Aaron. When it comes to the big guys in AEW, it's the exact opposite of Vince's former WWE, where the land of the giants, it's the land of the little. No offense, even though I'm like about the same height as most of the guys in AEW, but I'm not a wrestler. Pro wrestler anyway. Yeah, so you're going with the champ to retain. Yeah, he won it at Wrestle Dream, so that was 2.5 months ago.
So
I don't see a title change. Oof, we'll throw it over to you now. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, same. I'm going to go with Takeshita retains. Hobbs, I think he was out in injury at the exact same time. The rumors were circulating that the Hurt Business at the time was going to come into AEW. I think a lot of people were speculating that Hobbs would join the Hurt Business. Hurt Syndicate debuts. Powerhouse Hobbs coming back as a face, and then he just disappeared like everybody in AEW, where you make this grand return, everybody's happy, and then poof, you're gone. So hopefully Hobbs, as much as I would like to see Hobbs win, I think Takeshita retains. And hopefully Hobbs does get back to hopefully that Powerhouse. He should be literally his name, Powerhouse. I don't know, like a la Brock Lesnar or anything, but he should be a beast out there. And maybe perhaps in 2025, Hobbs goes back to being a heel, and maybe he does join the Hurt Syndicate. Who knows? With another guy who we're going to talk about later on. So, but I agree. Takeshita just won it, like you said, Aaron, at Wrestle Dream a couple months ago. Takeshita retains. Hopefully, it will be a good match then.
Yeah, it should be. And you know, if Hobbs has a good showing, maybe that'll lead to bigger things for him. But I feel like they've had opportunities to take him to the next level, and they failed to capitalize on it. So I feel like him just being in a really good match isn't going to help him unless they actually take him to the next level. Gino, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So first, I just wanted to address the how many matches that they have at the pay-per-view just real quick. I don't want to turn this into what should AEW do differently, but you know, it started as that wrestler-friendly company alternative to WWE. So I wonder, maybe, you know, I'm sure they get paid more for the appearance, wrestlers on the show, so might be trying to give them all a payday type of thing. I don't know. There probably is some you know, level of good-heartedness going into that, but it is a tough ask of, you know, somebody's time, but also you do want to get your money's worth. And if you throw more at it, you got more chance that people are going to be satisfied or see something they like worth buying, similar to how they started that with the kickoff show last pay-per-view with those guys from YouTube. But anyway, so many times AEW's got these stars who are right on the cusp of being essential superstars, and I don't know if it's they're afraid to pull the trigger. Like you said, this is kind of a little man's company. You could wrestle very well, cut a decent promo. Like, that's more what they're looking for than the size and things. You got like Powerhouse Hobbs and Wardlow. Like, I'm so frustrated that they just can't seem to get anything done with these guys. Yes, he's in this match. Yes, he's in a title match. Do I think he's going to win? No. I would love for Hobbs to win, but it's just not in the cards right now, like you guys have all said. But hopefully this does elevate him somewhat for a good match. I think Takeshita retains, and you know, it's as simple as that.
All right, thank you for that. Match one, we are all unanimous with our picks. We'll see if that trend continues. Let's move on now to the next match. We have the TBS Championship. Mercedes Moné, everybody's favorite wrestler, defending her championship once again. This is a rematch. Oofman, you were there. We'll get to you in just a second here. Mercedes Moné versus Kris Statlander, 2 for the TBS Championship. Kris Statlander threw down the challenge. Mercedes accepted. Now, Mercedes Moné already beat Kris Statlander once before. The question is, will it happen again? So, Oof, I'll throw it over to you first. Does Mercedes Moné get 2 wins over Kris, or does Kris pick up the win, become the new champion, and then Mercedes Moné maybe moves on to something else? What do you think?
Well, speaking about Mercedes Statlander 1 being there, they killed it at Full Gear. Greatest match ever. I don't know about that, but great. One of the greatest matches of the year for AEW. Absolutely. Both ladies did a great job with the match, like I said, at Full Gear. As much so, I was struggling with this one because my mind says it's how can you stop Mercedes, because it's Mercedes Moné, the 2 belts and all that jazz. But my heart is saying, you're really going to have Kris lose again?
Right.
Not only back-to-back matches with Mercedes, but back-to-back pay-per-view matches with Mercedes. So I'm going to go probably against the grain here. I'm actually going to say that Kris wins the TBS title, even though Mercedes is going to Japan in January, but the TBS title has nothing to do with that. So she's got her the NJPW women's title. Cool. So I'm actually going to go with Kris Statlander wins with assistance by Camille. We forgot about her. She's been missing. She's been gone. She went on that interview saying that it's like it's not her fault. She's not being put blah 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 blah. Whatever you want to say about her interview, she said her mind cool. So I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna take a stance and say that Kris Statlander wins with help by Camille. We will have a new TBS champion, Kris Statlander, on Saturday. And also a little asterisk note, maybe our good friend Willow might do something as well. So I'm either saying I'm gonna go with Kris winning, whether by help with Camille helping her, or Willow like assisting Kris Statlander with Camille. Looks like the typical, oh, she's going to turn a Mercedes. No, they're still in cahoots. So it's one of those things. But overall, my prediction will be Kris Statlander, new TBS champion.
All right. Now, Gino, what about a swerve? What if Camille comes out there and acts like she's against Mercedes, but then helps her retain the championship? Is that a possibility? What do you think, Gino?
I hadn't thought about that, so you're giving me a lot to let percolate here in my brain. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I wouldn't put anything past the shock value that of that choice. I actually thought I was going to be alone in this, but I am going to join the oof train here, and I'm going to predict that Mercedes Moné is going to lose her title, as kind of you alluded to earlier, though, Aaron, as a stepping stone to finally kind of going for the main women's title. Yeah, she got her two belts, but it's really not. I'm surprised it's taken this long. To be honest with you, like why are we paying her all this money and not having her go for the main style? It just, let's hope that they figure that out. But then again, somebody said in the chat, she could want all three belts. So I mean, I would that would be just ridiculous and pretty much bury your whole women's roster, which is pretty strong. So I don't think that. I do think that Moné is going to drop the title, and I do think it's going to be some type of shadiness to how the finish ends up, whether it's interference or whether it's some type of miscommunication or something like that. So,
well, I believe I said this before, as you mentioned, and I'll go ahead and say it again. I think Mercedes is going to move on to bigger and better things. I just do not see Kris Statlander losing 2 straight pay-per-views to Mercedes. I feel like Mercedes is going to move on to the world title, and I believe I mentioned this before, so I'll say it again here. I think that Mercedes will drop the title here, and then after Toni Storm wins, we'll start a Mercedes and Toni Storm feud, and that may culminate in July at All In Texas when they do that big match. Maybe that's when Mercedes becomes the AEW Women's World Champion. That's my prediction, my bold prediction for the new year. So Mercedes loses here, but she will be moving on to bigger things in 2025. So this guy, I'll throw it over to you now. I know you're a big Mercedes fan, right? So go ahead and give us your thoughts.
Well, similar to what Gino did earlier, the previous one, I'm going to talk about the card real quick. AEW's card is like way too big during pay-per-views from every time I see the predictions or watch the reviews of each pay-per-view. But on the other side, WWE is too short. So we need something in the middle. I agree with Gino to get a lot of people on the card. And that's the reason why we have, like, during the big 4 or 5 pay-per-view for WWE, they have the ladder matches or rumbles or whatever. I mean, battle royals or whatever. So that's why they're trying to get everybody paid. But yeah, like, I mean, another reason why I haven't bought a AEW like pay-per-views, like I'm not gonna be up that long. Like that's way too long. So, but anyway, getting back to this. So funny that this is the next card that next match that we're talking about. And the first one I said I don't see any title changes but one. And another props to AEW because at least they feature a lot more belts on their pay-per-views more than WWE. So I can definitely give them that credit. But anyway, we're going to this match, and this was the only match I seen a title change, and you guys stole the idea from me or read my mind, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, wait, how long has Mercedes been in AEW? She's had a belt for a while, and I forgot the other belt from Japan. And I'm like, well, it's almost time for her to like go for the big one, right? So that's what I was predicting. And then I didn't know that like I was watching one of your reviews of for AEW, and I forgot that Kris and Moné had a previous match. So yeah, all the signs are pointing there. I won't be surprised if she still keeps it because she's kind of like the female Hogan these days in AEW. So I'm not gonna cry if on Monday it's like, oh yeah, she actually won. But yeah, a lot of signs are pointing to her losing that title. And again, her former sidekick, she was going to fire her, but then she quit. And yeah, Wolfman, you kind of took my thought too. I was like, well, as soon as I heard that on his review for that episode, I was like, wait a second, this is going to play out later on. She's going to help her. It's more so going to be like, hey, I came back, Mercedes, to help you out, and then she's going to do something in cost of the title, either clock over the belt, which I don't think you can do that nowadays in wrestling like the good old days, or some other thing. And yeah, and even in the meantime, I know they have like enough time before like their next big pay-per-view, like I guess big 4 for AEW pay-per-view, but they can do like a little program after she gets back from Japan where she has to face her former sidekick. And obviously she's going to go over there. She's going to beat her former sidekick, and then that can propel her to getting the main title shot. But I disagree with you, Aaron. I don't think Toni Storm's going to get that title back. I'm going to save that for the when that card comes up. But yeah, I'm done.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. So yeah, we all agreed on a new champion. We'll see what happens with that if that comes to pass, or if Mercedes pulls her so-called creative control card and retains the title. We'll see what happens. But anyways, we'll move on here now to the other women's championship match, as this guy was alluding to. We got Mariah May defending her championship against Thunder Rosa in a Tijuana street fight. This is the first pay-per-view match that Thunder Rosa has had in a while, to my recollection. Maybe she was on a kickoff or buy-in match or something, but it's been a while since she's been in a main card pay-per-view match from what I can recall. Having said that, I don't see Mariah May losing that title. She's not losing that title till the Australia show at the absolute earliest. Like, this should be a good match. I'm glad Thunder Rosa's getting back in the mix, but yeah, no way Mariah May loses this one. I say the champ retains. This guy, I'll throw it right back over to you now. What do you see happening with Mariah moving forward here into the new year?
Yep, just like you said, I said earlier, only one title change I can see, and yeah, Miss May, she's keeping that title for a while. She just got it last month or the month before last, so she's not losing anytime soon. And then when it comes to Toni and hers, like I guess going back at each other since she like double crossed her a while back. This is my hopes. Let me actually correct what I said earlier. I hope, and I actually like Toni Storm a lot, but I hope that they keep Mariah May having the title for like I guess most of 2025 and not get it back to Toni Storm. And I hope it ends up being Mercedes to dethrone her, because for one, it will help build another like major star in Mariah May, because like defending on defeating a whole bunch of other challengers, and then Mercedes obviously topples her, but she's already a star. But yeah, like we know eventually she's going to get that title, and the best way for her to get the title is defeat somebody that has been undefeatable for a while. And if Toni goes up back after her and she takes the title from him, then it's kind of deflating all the momentum that she built. So that's the only thing. This is my hopes more than my prediction.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Oofman, we'll throw it over to you now. Your thoughts on this one? We got the comment in here. We might need to keep this to 30 seconds because there's really not too much to say about this match, but it should be a good one, right?
Yes, should still be a good one. This one really breaks my heart because I adore both women, both Mariah and Thunder Rosa. Had the honor of meeting both of them. Both could not be one of the biggest sweethearts ever. Really nice, and wanted to actually chat with their fans, so that was pretty cool. But like we're all saying, this guy hit the nail right in the head. All arrows are pointing to that Australia show. Mariah May is going to walk into that show as women's champion, and that's where I believe we'll see the return of Timeless Toni Storm, so they can break off that feud. And like actually what we said about the match before, yeah, perhaps next year is where Mercedes now chases the world title. So as much as I love Thunder Rosa and I love Mariah May as well, unfortunately, Thunder Rosa is going to count the lights, and Mariah May will retain her title on Saturday.
All right. She'll be down for the 3-second tan, to quote a certain song. We'll throw it over to Gino now. So far we're all picking the champ to retain. Do you agree?
Yeah, Mariah May is gonna win this match, retain her title. This is probably the most obvious one to me on the entire card. Nothing against Thunder Rosa, but it's Mariah May, so we can just move on from that.
All right, keep it short and sweet. There you go. Got the under 30 seconds on that one. So now we move on to the next match. Man, a year ago I would have been like, hell yeah, this is a red hot match. But now I'm kind of in the middle. Like, it's MJF and I like Adam Cole too, but man, I feel like they just waited way too long to pull the trigger on this match. Too many things went down and the feud got cold. They tried to resuscitate it. I just have a hard time getting into it, even though I know these guys will pull out all the stops and it should be a great match. But man, it's just a shame how everything turned out. MJF versus Adam Cole for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. Oofman, I'm going to start with you on this one. Where does this feud go? Like, should this be the end? Do you see it continuing after this? Like, how is this going to play out in a way that will satisfy viewers? What do you think they can do?
3 words: just end this. It's just like you said, Aaron, you're right. Due to unfortunate incidents that happened, the injuries to both guys, and then the return. Oh, Undisputed Kingdom are faces now. I was confused. You were confused in your reviews as well. And all right, I get they didn't fight at Full Gear. All right, you save it for World's End, a year after last year, the first one at the Nassau. Now in Florida, finally have the match. What doesn't make sense to me, and I don't know if you guys can answer it, why is the Diamond Ring up for grabs? I feel like the Diamond Ring is going to be involved in the match. Either MJF uses it or Cole uses it, but I don't see the point of adding that stipulation that it's for the Diamond Ring. Is that to make us think like, oh, maybe MJF is finally going to lose the ring? But I don't think he is. I think MJF goes over. I think he's back. I think, the trailer dropped on YouTube that Netflix produced for Happy Gilmore 2. So I think MJF is officially done making Happy Gilmore 2. So hopefully that means he'll be back with AEW as we go into the new year, as we're heading to the other big pay-per-views and stuff, the stadium shows. So I'm picking MJF to win. Will there be shenanigans? Yeah, I think so. But I still think it'll be a good match. It's MJF, it's Adam Cole. They'll give us a really good match, but MJF goes over, and I think the ring will make its presence in the match, either by either guy. But overall, MJF wins, and for the love of God, just end this.
Yeah, well said. This guy, would you second that? What are your thoughts?
Yep, pretty much. And I agree. Like, how long have they been having this feud for? Like 2 years now, it seems like. I don't think it's actually been 2 years, but yeah, MJF's going over. And it was funny that I'm confused who's the heel and who's the face in this situation, because doesn't Adam Cole has his own stable, and usually in wrestling, if you have your own stable, you're usually the heel. So why is MJF? Yeah. So why? But yeah, MJF is going over. He got it. Simple as that.
Wouldn't shock me if we get a turn from the Undisputed Kingdom and they betray Adam Cole, and that's how he loses, and that's how we end the feud. Adam Cole can feud with those guys and, do whatever they're going to do, and MJF can move on to bigger and better things, hopefully. Like,
I won't be confused. I'll sit there and be like, sure. That'll be my reaction if that happens. I'll be like, okay.
Yeah. Anything to just end the feud and move on to something else at this point. So yeah, I'm going with that. I'm going with MJF to win as well. And let's see, maybe Gino will be the one to go against us and pick Adam Cole. What do you think, Gino?
I think you guys all made a lot of really good points. I think that it would be natural for the storyline progression to have them turn on Adam Cole so that the storyline can go in that direction, and we can, like Oof said, like you guys are saying, and end this feud. I actually got this shirt there the night that MJF wanted to be called Max, and he was like the start or like the actual part of his babyface turn. Feels like forever ago. it's, it's tough in wrestling when people get hurt during a feud. It cools things off. Or at least I used to think that. Now I have a different expectation. When somebody gets hurt, like WWE's been showing a way to use that to their advantage for the story. I mean, or maybe it was just Drew McIntyre, but he made that CM Punk feud red hot all the way. Like WWE was doing what they needed to do, and it's just something that didn't happen with AEW. I think a lack of real social media presence hurts them in that regard. I'm fingers crossed that they do turn so we can have a natural progression, but I do think it's going to be MJF who wins this. It's funny to me. It seems like they're piggybacking off of WWE's idea, like the wrong ideas they're trying to copy from WWE. Let's have an item as the main crux of our feud because one of the guys was injured, whatever. It's like, that's not the part you should be focusing on. You should be focusing on the hatred and the intensity of the feud. So this match, it could be close, but if they turn on Adam Cole, that would be my preferred outcome. So MJF wins, clean or not, MJF wins, and they go their separate ways.
All right, sounds good. So once again, we're all in agreement. So far, we've agreed on everything up to this point, and I feel like we may all agree on this one too. So let's get to the World Heavyweight Championship match. Yes, we're not talking about this last because, quite frankly, I don't think that this is the most interesting match or matches on the card. We got Jon Moxley defending the AEW World Championship in a 4-way against Adam Page, Orange Cassidy, and Jay White. And look, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be a chaotic 4-way match. These multi-way matches are usually really good. You're going to have a lot of carnage, a lot of chaos. But to me, it's just so predictable. I do not see Moxley dropping the title in a 4-way like this. If he's going to lose the title, he's going to lose it one-on-one to somebody who's going to be the conquering hero of AEW. And I think that person could be Kenny Omega. Maybe Kenny Omega shows up after this match and sets his sights on Jon Moxley to win the title back for AEW. Could be Will Ospreay or somebody else, but Omega is due back, and there's a lot of rumor and speculation that he's going to come back at this show. So I got to say Moxley retains. Maybe we get Kenny Omega or somebody else after the match to be making it clear, hey, I'm your next challenger. I'm coming for you, Moxley. But yeah, Moxley retains. Should be a really good match. Gino, I'll throw it over to you and get your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I think that you have a lot of great points. Obviously, if Kenny Omega comes back, and it feels like the crowd is behind Jay White a little bit. It's not the pop or the excitement or the conquering hero vibe that you'd get as you would with Kenny Omega taking the title from Mox. So it feels like AEW knows that this is, he's not dropping the title, which is why they put multiple men in the match, or if it's to get them all the payday. But, he has a chance of dropping the title and not getting pinned. Oh, what's going to happen, right? So I kind of do enjoy that. I liked the stare down that they had and the beat down that they had on the go home show from Dynamite. So it's still going to be Moxley winning, though. That would be the most entertaining thing for that to happen. And then Kenny Omega's music to hit. I don't think it would be smart to say have him up here without music running in to do something. Like, I think it should be a spectacle of his return, and it should be not just like, oh, he's coming through the crowd, whatever. And then he tries to get the one up on him. No, the conquering hero needs to come out, stake his challenge. That would be fantastic. So I'm on board for that, for sure. Mox wins, Omega returns.
Well, somebody had brought up this idea. It's not my idea, but I think it's an interesting one. If you remember the first AEW pay-per-view, Jon Moxley came through the crowd, and they set that up with him coming out there for that. What if they did something like that, where this time it's Omega coming through the crowd doing what Moxley did on that first AEW pay-per-view and attacking him from behind? So, that's a possibility. Uthman, what do you think about this?
I'm going to save Kenny Omega for another match that we're going to talk about. So unfortunately, this Rough Riders storyline, I'm trying to get invested in it, but it's kind of like losing my attention. Like you said, with the 4 guys in the match should be a good one. But to take what Gino said, but as far as the crowd siding with Jay White, I think the crowd is siding with Hangman. He got a good pop the other day. I think it was, this past Wednesday's Dynamite when he got interviewed in the back. The crowd popped. But then again, it was taped, so who knows if it was real or whatever. But I think the crowd is going to be on Hangman's side. And like we're saying, it's just messing with their heads like, oh, there could be a chance that Moxley could lose it. He's got 3 worthy competitors and all that jazz. So going to be a good match. I'm not going to say Omega comes out, but I will say that Moxley does retain. And we may get a surprise appearance by Mr. Plastic Bag. I don't know. Will he put bags on all 3 men? Will he just do it to Orange Cassidy? I don't know, but it'll be the typical Rough Rider shenanigans at the end of the match. But Moxley retains, and we go into the new year trying to figure out what is the end game for this Rough Riders taking over AEW storyline. But Mox retains.
All right, thank you for that. And this guy will wrap it up with you.
All right, so I wrote some notes here in preparations. So Moxley is basically the tribal chief of AEW. So he's not losing, like straight up. There's another issue I have with both companies when it comes, and you guys said it a couple of times already, when it comes to the multi-man match, especially mainly for a world title, we already know like 99% of the chance they're not losing. And I'm really getting tired of it. Like, stop booking these matches where it's like so predictable. I mean, I don't even care if it's I'm trying to think what's a transition champion, let's say, for example. I'm not calling him a transition champion, but I'm just using this example. When Damian Priest was the world champion, I'm pretty sure he had a triple threat match, right? If I'm not mistaken, and he won that match easily. Or am I thinking of the recent one? I think I might be getting that one confused. But most of the time, when they have these fatal 4-ways or triple threat matches for the world title, the challengers always lose, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's no way the champion can survive these matches. He always does, or she. Charlotte Flair back in the triple threat match, like 6 years ago already. She won. Like this never going to happen. I just want to get that rant off my chest because I'm really tired of seeing this every single pay-per-view of both companies. Even though I don't watch AEW's like pay-per-views, but I'm just saying any world title match that's a multi-person match, their champion always wins. It's like anyway, but yeah. John Moxley, the tribal chief of AEW, he's keeping that title. I was going to joke and say Orange Juice Cassidy, but nah.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that he's the tribal chief, because I was literally thinking like this is like Bloodline era Roman Reigns, where it's like doesn't matter who he's wrestling against, doesn't matter how many men are in the match, doesn't matter the stipulation. WrestleMania, he's not dropping it until WrestleMania at the earliest. Like it just feels, so it just kind of has that vibe to it. That's very great. Well put. This guy experience. Well done.
All right. So we're all agreeing again. It's been unanimous. Now we got 3 more matches to talk about, but we're going to bundle it together as one segment here. And this may be where we finally disagree on some things and have some different opinions on this. To me, this is the selling point of this pay-per-view. This is why people are buying the pay-per-view for the final match, the semifinals. We're getting the semifinals and the final, which I'm a fan of actually, because the winner has to win twice in one night to become the champion. So, it kind of has like a mini old school King of the Ring vibe where you have to wrestle more than once in one night to win the whole thing. So I'm a fan of that. The tournament's been really good. They had some really strong matches at Hammerstein Ballroom for Collision and Dynamite. Now we got the semifinals. We got the first one being Okada versus Ricochet. And then the second one is Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher has already beaten Ospreay, and this is their rematch. I don't believe we've seen Ricochet and Okada in AEW, so this should be an interesting one. And then the winners will go on in the final match. So we're going to do the predictions for all 3 here. I'll go ahead and start with this one. Will Ospreay's been losing quite a bit. He's taken a few losses over the past few weeks. Fletcher beat him at Full Gear, so Ospreay's winning against Fletcher. And then as far as the other match goes, we've already seen Ricochet versus Will Ospreay over the past couple months. We saw it this past Collision. So I don't think that's going to be the final. Ricochet's doing this new heel character, and he's he is what he is at this point. I don't see him beating Okada. Okada is the defending champion with this whole tournament. So Okada is going to win. And I don't believe we've had Ospreay versus Okada in AEW. So this is going to be huge for them to do their match on pay-per-view. That is what I think is going to be the final of the tournament. Ospreay versus Okada. And then I think Will Ospreay is going to win to make up for all those losses. He's going to come out strong, winning this tournament. And will that set him up? I mentioned him possibly going after Moxley at some point. They want to make Ospreay strong. So when Omega comes back, they can do Ospreay versus Omega. You want Ospreay to be booked as one of your top guys. So, yeah, I think Ospreay wins the whole thing here, and he'll be the new champion. So we'll go ahead and get everyone's thoughts on this one. Oof, I'll start with you on this. What are your thoughts? How do you see the final matches here playing out?
All right, so first of all, Okada versus Ricochet, I think it's going to be a pretty cool match. I have Okada beating Ricochet. I think Ricochet is this new character that I think he's doing a great job with. It's funny reading some opinions on this new character. I don't get it. I don't understand how people don't get what he's doing. He's doing this cocky, I'm Ricochet, Mr. Wrestling, Mr. AEW wouldn't exist without me. I think he's doing a great job with it. In the end, I think he'll eventually earn the Hurt Syndicate's respect, and he'll join that. So there's that part. But I think his ego will get the best of him. Okada will pin him, so Okada will advance. As far as Fletcher, Ospreay, as you're saying, Ospreay is like probably the main guy right now, the main face of AEW. But it's a little bit different compared to what we said about Mercedes and Statlander. Statlander came back from an injury. She was building this momentum. They had this great match at Full Gear. Mercedes beat her. And now since they're repeating it, again, like I said earlier, I think Statlander needs to win because 2 massive losses in pay-per-views back-to-back, I think would kill any fire, any push that Statlander has right now with her. I think us fans, we were cheering for her a lot at Full Gear. So I think Statlander will win on Saturday. In this match, Fletcher Ospreay, yes, Fletcher did beat Ospreay at Full Gear, but I think Fletcher has his future is extremely bright in AEW. They're clearly behind him. The machine is behind him. So I'm actually going to say Ospreay beats Fletcher here in that match. And in the finals, Okada versus Ospreay. Sorry, Aaron, we are it took the final prediction, but we will disagree here. I will say Okada retains, and here is where Kenny Omega returns. AEW, I know Tony Khan has wanted Okada and Omega. Well, here you go. Okada will stand tall, holding the belt in the air. Lights will go out. I don't know if Carry On Your Wayward Son should play or just Omega's regular theme should play. And here they finally have the stare down. And I think Aaron, you put the placing of the predictions right. I think the world title, if the world title doesn't end this pay-per-view, then this match will end it, and Kenny will, like I said earlier, I saved them for this. Kenny will come out to have the stare down with Okada, and that's how you end the pay-per-view on a high note. I'm sure fans won't be happy that Okada in my prediction, Okada beats Ospreay. The crowd's going to be, of course, behind Ospreay. So right now it's like, oh, Okada won. The fans will be booing, but then here comes Kenny. He's going to stand at the stage. I don't think he's going to come from the crowd. He's just going to stand at the stage. He'll do his gunshot thingy pointing at Okada, and the pay-per-view ends with Kenny and Okada staring at each other. But my prediction, retaining the Continental Classic champion or the Continental title, Okada, bitch.
All right. I like your impression of that. Nicely done.
Had to put it in there.
I mean, that's a solid pick, and I've seen people saying that Omega will actually show up at the end of this tournament. And to me, that this really should be the final match of this, should close the show as far as I'm concerned. But if they're having Omega come out for the world title match, they may put the world title match on last. But
Yeah,
I'd like to see them open with the 2 tournament matches and then close with the final. I think that'd be a nice way to present the entire show, opening and closing with the Continental Classic. But this guy, I'll throw it over to you now. Oh, anything you want to add?
Yeah, just want to add. Well, yeah, I agree with you. Maybe start the pay-per-view with one of the 2 semifinals, then somewhere in the middle of the card, the other semifinal, and then again, hopefully my prediction's right, no offense, but if Kenny is saved for the end of the show, whether it's a title match or this, have that for the ending. Let the fans go home happy, because if Moxley retains, I don't think the crowd will be happy. Omega can come down, make everybody smile again. If my prediction comes true, Okada is celebrating. Boom! It just let it end with Kenny Omega, I think. But yeah, I think you're right, Aaron. Have mix the other 2 semifinals within the pay-per-view. I think the card should end with the Continental Classic finals, because it was a whole month and you're waiting for this. And I think if it does end with the Continental Classic, the Continental title on the line, the final match, then yes, and Omega is definitely coming out.
All right, there you have it. This guy, we'll throw it over to you now. Muted.
How's it still muted? Okay. So I meant to change my prediction because I originally had, or at least I wanted Ricochet to beat Okada. And again, listening to your review for the tournament, I know the rules is no interference, but they can still cheat, which is weird. So I was going to say, I know they, yeah, I know. So my idea is, and it's similar to what Oofman was saying, like his new character, like a cocky heel, jabroni-ish kind of heel. I was thinking like it's kind of a play on, like in universe, it's a play on screen. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, you were breaking up there for a second. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I seen it. Is it doing it again? It looks like it's doing it again.
I think the Wyatt family or the Wyatt Six are invading your stream.
Man. All right, well, let me say this. Keep it short so you guys can hear the rest. Anyway, long story short, I want the Hurt Syndicate or the Hurt Business, whatever you're going to call them, kind of interfere. Like in universe, they were just showing that for play. Sorry about that. And they're actually going to help him actually cheat to win, and then he's going to fail at the ending of the pay-per-view. Like I was thinking, like it's a good idea. Weave the matches in between the entire pay-per-view, and then have it be the main event. And then on the other side, Ospreay is going to win. The Fletcher guy, I've been hearing some stuff about him during your reviews, and he doesn't seem that great of a person. I mean, the character doesn't seem all that great, so I don't know. Like he's not built up enough to get that title. So I'm going to just say Will Ospreay for this situation. And then I know you said earlier that not Kenny, Will and Ricochet already had several matches against each other, but I mean, it's a safe bet, so it's a good way to close the show. But obviously, Will's going to overcome him, and you're going to have a new champion. Well, at that point in time, you already decided a new champion, and it's going to be a very cool and exciting thing to see who's going to become the new champion at the end of that pay-per-view. So that's how I see it, / how I want it to go. But do I want to fold to peer pressure? Because of I don't know. I'm still gonna say Will's gonna win the whole thing, but how to get there is the only thing that keeps throwing me off, because I kind of want to keep Ricochet as the person that Will defeats. But I'm gonna keep it that way. Will Ospreay still wins, but Ricochet defeats Okada. Or wait till I stop buffering. All right, Ospreay wins at the defeating Ricochet. That's how I'm gonna end it.
All right, fair enough. I mean, they may end up going that route. We'll see what happens. Gino, I'll throw it over to you now for final thoughts from your end. Go ahead.
Yeah, great points, all you guys. As somebody who doesn't watch every episode, every segment, right? When I see this tournament bracket and all that stuff, as somebody who's been conditioned to the WWE style of booking, you would want, that Ricochet versus Will Ospreay type of heel face dynamic. Like you said, Ospreay is basically the main face of AEW. So because of that, he needs to win this whole thing. For me as a casual AEW fan to believe that it makes any sense of why he's still not going for the main title. It gets me frustrated even thinking about. And then speaking of that, so Omega coming back to cost Okada, like why are we not wanting to go for the main title? Like why would Kenny come back on? Like I maybe there's some storyline reason for that, but for the love of all that is holy, like
match.
Yeah, like it should just be like if Omega's gonna make his comeback. I mean, I think whatever match obviously ends the night, Omega's gonna come back on that. I'm fairly certain at this point. It should be like you said, Aaron. Start the night off with the 2 semifinal matches. Give them some time to recover and prepare for each other. What have you, however you want to call it, storyline. But Ospreay should win. I like Ricochet's heel character. I feels like he's being given the push. I don't know if they have him beat Okada in the lead up, but if I'm booking it to be Ricochet versus Ospreay again. But like you said, oh, well, they've already wrestled against each other. We don't know if we've had the other match before. So, they're probably going to do that to satisfy, 5-star match type of people. So I will say this, though. Having to win twice in a night, like, that's what I kind of grew up on that. Like, you had your the way the King of the Ring would finish, and then especially the Undisputed Championship. Right, there's something about the pageantry of a type of pay-per-view that involves you having to win twice, and I really like that. So I am looking forward to this more than every other match and every other kind of storyline on the card. I just think that, again, maybe I don't know the story, but it really, if Omega's going to come back to cost somebody something or to get involved with something, like it'll frustrate me if it's not for the world title. And if Ospreay loses, like he shouldn't be losing, like it just feels like it's all out of whack. But I'm going to pick Ricochet versus Okada versus Ospreay into the finals. That's what I'm going to predict. So I'm with this guy experience on that because I think that Ricochet is getting this push right now, and it feels like that would kind of be thrown out the back door to have him lose the semifinal match. It could be in, whatever type of fashion. He won by just barely squeaking in, so that's cool. Like it makes me dislike him, but also enjoy disliking him. So we'll go with Ricochet, Ospreay wins.
All right, there you have it. So some different picks on that one, and looking forward to that one. That should be a great end to the show, regardless of what they do for the final match. And that's all we got for the predictions, since at this time that's all we have as far as matches go. There'll probably be more added, as I mentioned earlier, but should overall be a fun show. Let's go ahead and do our plugs now. Oofman, we'll start with you. Thanks as always for being available, and anything you would like to plug or promote.
Yeah, once again, gentlemen, thank you so much for having me again. Just a quick plug, if anybody's watching in the northern Jersey area, I'll be actually on Saturday night, I'll be at Dave & Buster's by Willowbrook Mall. So if anybody's watching in northern Jersey, head over to Dave & Buster's. You'll find me because I will be the guy with the Hart Foundation Bret Hart jacket on and probably screaming because I just, again, as a fan of wrestling, just love watching it. So head on down to Dave & Buster's at Willowbrook Mall. Me and my friends will be there. Shout out to Glenn, who's watching live as well. We'll be hanging out there for dinner before the show and then enjoying AEW. And then if there's a breaker or something, or there's a boring match, I'll go play some skee ball or something. But looking forward to the show. And again, I think like Gino said, like everybody's saying, I just think this the 2 potential final matches, I just think a heel will go over, whether it be Moxley or Okada. I just think to end the year, end it with Omega.
Yes,
have the
sure.
crowd explode and that's your final shot. There's the copyright logo, and we go home happy. At least the crowd in the arena will go home happy. At Full Gear, it ended with Darby. We were a little confused because we didn't know what was going on, because as the screen was showing what was going on outside, the rest of us at the arena, we were looking at the wrestlers in the ring leaving, and we're like, all right, do we pay attention to the ring side or do we pay attention to the screen? And then finally, when Darby showed up and crashed the car, okay, that got our attention to the screen. So hopefully it ends with Omega at World's End. And so everybody, the crowd at home and the crowd in the arena, go home happy. And again, looking forward to a good pay-per-view. And I think it will be a really good, solid pay-per-view. AEW does come through. But again, it was an honor to be with you guys. So again, we'll see you. If I don't see you then, Happy New Year to all you guys in the next coming days.
All right. Much love and appreciation to you, Oof. And this guy will go ahead and get your plugs. Go ahead. You're on mute. He's on mute.
And he's like underwater.
Well, there's his page. Once we get him back on the screen, I'll let him show up. He's got a new product for us. So let me go ahead and throw it back over to him now. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Go for it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Back to old school Verizon days. All right. So I don't know if you guys can see this. It's like really bad. My wife just completed this. That's my still. So blurry. I'm still blurry.
We got a couple clear shots of it, and here once again is the Instagram
terrible. This
page.
is like, oh man, I cannot believe this. At the
That's
end of it,
there's the link right there on Instagram. Yeah, some technical difficulties from this guy's end, but the graphic, you can go ahead and check out Heather's page.
We're live, baby. We're live.
We're live, pal. Thank you, This Guy Experience. Always a pleasure, even when you're pixelated. We love having you on. Hi, guys. Thank goodness no Jericho match.
Oh, yes. No Jericho match.
Knock on wood, right?
I was actually going to say, what if they put the year end with the countdown and Y2J makes his triumphant return instead?
You never know. Anyways, Gino, what do you got?
The lawyers will invade that arena.
Yeah. So I really appreciated when Virtue called me Mean Gino last time, even though I consider myself a pretty nice guy. Hopefully I'm not being mean, but I think that nickname might stick. Well, who knows? But if you guys want to catch me anywhere else, I'm on all the socials at PapaGino0017. I'll be doing some live streaming of video gaming. Like I said, I've got the move situation keeping me here. So this will be the new background. Aaron, as always, and the panel, honored to be here. And I hope everybody has had a safe holiday season so far and into the Happy New Year. And business is about to pick up coming into the new year. So excited.
Definitely. Yes. Thank you, Gino. I like it. Mean Gino. We'll call you that from now on.
Yeah.
Now that Christmas is over, it's back to business. Tonight we did the World's End predictions, and then I got SmackDown, and then the World's End pay-per-view with the live recap on No DQ. Then Sunday, we're closing out the No DQ review, final No DQ review of the year. That will be Sunday night, and then Monday is the final Raw on the USA Network. A lot of stuff coming up. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the NoDQ.com YouTube channel. And that's it. Thank you, Gino. Thank you, This Guy. Thank you, Oof. Thank you to the chat room for contributing tonight. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Share this video. Tell a friend. Say yes to No DQ. And I will see you all next time. And check out Gino's channel for Sonic 3. Classic game. Love that one. Have a great night, guys, and we'll see you next time.